Before you can blink, think pink. Take a deep inhale in, get present, remember your instincts. Exhale now, look around. Tick, tick, the time is passing. All the time being serious and working doesn't feel everlasting. Being so smart is exhausting, but our company's got a whole bag of tricks. They keep calling us into politics, but from the looks of things, we'd be in company with a bunch of lunatics. We love business, but to work with us, you gotta be quick. Our team and haters like oil and water could never mix. Keeping it positive, tune into our channel Mondays and Fridays, Pacific time at 6. All are welcome and we're sharing tips to play the game. Holy is the God who we represent and who we claim. Don't be blue. Remember, when life gets you down,
To open
think
with this.
pink.
So giving. So if you are an entrepreneur already, or if you're, working that muscle, trying to get yourself, or even if you're not, but you are in business, I think a big part of that is giving, right? We have to give. We have to be selfless, because if we're going to lead other people, it's going to be really hard to build a solid team if you're selfish, right? And so I want to open with this giving. John 3:16. I'm sure everybody knows this one. God gave his only son, his first son, his best son. He gave everything, right? And that shows how selfless the master of the universe is. And so if we receive that, then we ourselves must also be giving in our ways. I feel like God just always wants to walk with us in truth. And in life, sometimes it gets muddy, right? Sometimes it's like, well, there's the truth, but then there's this facade that I also need to put on or walk with, a persona. We all need to have some kind of a personality, or something that we wear on the outside when we're meeting people. The typical stories that we tell about ourselves, when we're meeting people, especially in business and things like that. And sometimes, like, I've been in my own business now for 7 years, and like sometimes I get tired of my same old stories, and I choose to, yeah, it's true. Like, I'm like, man, I've been telling the same story about myself over, and not that it's not true, but it's like I'm tired of telling that story. Like, I'm ready for a new story, and that's okay, right? And so we need to just make sure that as we're evolving and coming up with the new stories, that we're always walking in truth, that the stories we tell are true, or at least they're true, that this is the direction I'm walking to, and we are making sure that that is the direction that we're going. There's over 2,000 references to giving and tithing in the Bible. So just to tie it back to giving, you don't want to miss the investment opportunity that God gives you, because God gives us opportunities to invest in different ways, in people and ourselves. Thank you, Alan. And so, you have to make sure that you're mindful of that, and that you're not blaming other people or circumstances for your lack of giving or your lack of growth, because that is a personal responsibility that we all must take on ourselves. And so, I take the burden of training and teaching. I'm not going to blame anybody in our community for me not doing what I'm supposed to do, right? And so I just say that to give you guys food for thought, especially as you guys. I know all of y'all's hearts on this call, but as you guys are growing teams, and I know some of you guys already have people that you work with and teams that you've grown. But as you're working with others, you can't give them that excuse either. And sometimes that's a little tricky, because people tell you their stories. And sometimes when we're listening to other people's stories, we can see the spots in it. It's always easier to see other people's faults or other people's, maybe impurity. And so while we're listening to them, it's very important that we always take a posture in helping them grow through that, and not I always tell everybody, I don't judge anybody, because I myself am not perfect and I don't want to be judged. So I'm not going to judge anyone at all. However, I won't also enable. I know in my life I was an enabler for a lot. For my kid's father, for my brother, for my mother. We just enable them because we don't want to hurt their feelings, right? Even though I can see the spots, I can see, all right, like, you need to stop telling that story, because it's not helping the growth. It's not, like, it's okay to change. It's okay. It's okay to change. And I think change is very scary, but in business, you have to be able to adapt to change, because as you grow your business, you may end up to a point where you sell your business, right? I know all of you guys are in insurance, so you could eventually have $1 million book of business. And if you're just passively making $1 million passively yearly, that's fantastic. But maybe you're like, you know what? I don't want to manage this book of business anymore. I want to sell it. Well, that's a big change, right? So you have to be prepared for change because change can be for your benefit. But if you're holding on to the old stories and you're holding on to what you're used to and what's so comfortable, then nothing's going to change. And maybe that's not bad. That's okay if you want to stay there. But I think for growth and for opportunities for other people, you have to get very fluid. You have to be able to roll with it, and accept it and be able to manage it properly. Um, so I wanted to read this. So from Mark 3, third verse, Jesus said to the man with the deformed hand, "Come and stand in front of everyone." Then he turned to his critics and he asked, "Does the law permit good deeds on the Sabbath, or is it a day for doing evil? Is this a day to save life or destroy it?" But they wouldn't answer him. He looked around at them angrily, and he was deeply saddened by their hard heart. Then he said to the man, "Hold out your hand." So the man held out his hand and it was restored. At once, at once, the Pharisees went away and met with the supporters of Herod to plot how to kill him. At once. And I just underlined at once because it's like, there's rules, there's laws, there's things that we have to abide by, right? Like, don't work on the Sabbath. Okay, well, if I'm not going to work and I'm going to turn a blind eye to this gentleman that I know in faith, I can help restore his hand. You sometimes you do have to choose, right? You have to choose what's right. But sometimes when you choose what's right, there are going to be people that at once, without hesitation, they will be angry, they will not like you for it, they are going to persecute you. And if and I know, like, sometimes I'm like, so especially with Alan on here, like, I know he already knows all of this stuff. Like, it's been such a pleasure working with him, and he's influenced me so much and taught me so much. But it's just like, in business that can happen too, right? Sometimes, like, we think that, like, we get a raise, we get a with promotion, we get a higher level offered to us, and it's so exciting. But usually when you get that at once, there's going to be somebody somewhere that ain't happy about that because it wasn't them, right? They didn't get it. And so at once they're giving you negative thoughts. At once they're thinking, angry things towards you, and you don't always know it. And I feel like in my life, I have developed like this. I pray for protection every day over me and my children. Haters, yes, sister. Haters, haters, haters. And so, like, because of, like, all the growth that I've done and all the amazing opportunities God has given me and blessed me with, and I'm always grateful. I don't take any of that for granted. But because of all of that, I do realize that there are things working against me sometimes. And I pray every day for protection over me, over everybody that works with me, over my children, because they're in school and I know they've got haters that they probably don't even know, because the way I raise my children is not to pay attention to that, right? Focus on yourself, what you need to do. And so I think through praying for all the protection that, like, me and my kids have sort of developed, like, I don't even feel it. Like, we had this vendor fair a few weeks ago at the kids' high school, and we had over 80 vendors come. It was a great turnout. And it was me and two other moms, and we had to walk around to a few of the booths to collect some stuff. And we went to this one booth, and I'm always hunky dory. I'm just like, and I'm the president, so it's pretty cool being the president because really the secretary and the treasurer, they do the hard stuff, and I just get to shake hands and kiss babies. Like, so it's kind of a blessing it worked out that way. So we stopped at this one booth, right? And the Xavier's the other mom that I was working with, and she did all the talking, and I'm just there kind of looking at the lady stuff on her booth. And we walk away, and Xavier's like, "Man, that lady was like, did you feel that energy? Like, it was bad. Like, she was not a good person. Like, she said she could just feel it." Well, I just told her, I said, "You know what's so crazy? I pray for so much protection. I don't even feel it anymore. Like, I can't even feel the hate. I can't even feel, because my mind is not there. I don't hate on anybody. I am so happy for other people's come ups. I'm so, like, just grateful to be growing together with people. And so, like, I didn't even feel it. And then something else happened this past week, and I can't even remember, but it was the same thing. Like, I just don't even feel when people are coming sideways at me. Like, I'm just like, great, have a great day, like whatever. Like, you just have to maintain that frame. But I think it's also important not to be naive. And I had this conversation with Alan for many when I came to, I guess you call it born again, like it was in 2018 is when I felt the presence of God in my life. And I understand why they call it born again, because I literally was just so excited. It is a great way to be, but I was so excited. I'm still excited, but like a child doesn't even know. Like there's not enough experience in it to understand all the depths of it. So for I'd say probably a good 4 or 5 years, it was just rainbows and sunshine. That's why my company's Think Pink, because I'm just all happy, everything's great. And it is. But like over the last 2 years, God has been like, okay, now we're gonna walk through some shadows. Now we're gonna walk through some valleys. Now we're gonna see the other side of if you're not living in my light, what that's like. And so I have experienced that. And I told Alan, like, I've been denying for a while now certain things that I've seen and felt, supernatural things, because it's like, how do I even explain this to people that are not aware, that are not in the same space, right? It's hard and you can't, and maybe we're not always supposed to, because maybe those experiences are for us. It's not for sharing, it's not for other people. But I just wanted to bring that up because it is great to stay in that positive mindset. This is how we influence people the right way, because other people are looking for the light. And I think that's why some people that I work with have shown up, because I know for me, like when I have somebody that I'm following and they're the light, it's just like, oh, I want to be around this person. Like it feels good. I like this person is touched by God. I can feel them radiating. And that's what we want to do. We want to be the light for other people to find us, because we are all leaders on this call. Like, I work with some of you guys very closely. Some of you guys I'm still getting to know, but I know everybody on this call has the light in them. Nobody here is dark, but it's important to not be just naive in business. And in business too, because people will take advantage of you if they know that they know more than you, or if they not everybody is out to just be a good mentor, right? And sometimes we think that because like, oh, this person is worth millions of dollars, or this person has so many different businesses and this person's doing it, right? Like look at their cars, look at their house, like, oh my gosh. Like, and this is not for like, I'm not generalizing in anybody, or not, I am generalizing. I am not like pinpointing anybody at all, but I'm just saying like sometimes when we're naive like that and we're not cautious, and if especially if we're not praying for protection, things can seep in, right? I'm just gonna share this story with you guys. A few weeks ago, somebody knocked on my door at 11:30 at night, and for me, I'm like, if you come knocking on my door, I've been through too much in my life. Like I am not from a place of rainbows and sunshine, and that's why it was so intoxicating to me when I came to know God, because I'd never felt that before. It was just so amazing. But I'm not from that place, so I still have a lot of memories stored in my body, in my mind, in my heart. Like I still have all that stuff. That stuff doesn't just go away, right? And so as soon as I hear a knock on my door, I look at the time, it's 11:30, and like I'm just like, oh no, 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 no. Who is knocking on my door this late? Like that is not good etiquette. Like that cannot be anybody good. So that happened. I didn't answer the door, whatever, everything was fine. Then the next morning, I had bought this vehicle and I had the car at that point 4 days. And so I was it was so that was Saturday night. Sunday morning, I wake up, I get in my vehicle to go. I go do hot yoga on Sunday mornings, and while it's a big class, and I'm always in prayer in there. Like it's a worship time for me. Like I get to talk to God, I get to get very peaceful and mindful and meditate in there. And so I'm on the way to do that, I come up to the red light, and I'm praising in my. I love to praise in my car. Like I'm playing all the songs, singing all the, I'm just loving life. It's great. I pull up to the red light, the whole car loses power. I've been driving this car for 4 days with no issue. And so last night, I feel like the enemy was knocking on my door at 11:30 p.m. I don't know who it was. When I looked through the peephole, I could just see they had hoodies on, and I couldn't see faces, anything. And I don't hang out long enough to really like, want to know too much. And my son was in the living room, so I just like waved like at him like this, like come on. And so we ran away from the door. But I'm like, I feel like the enemy was knocking on my door at 11:30 at night. Sunday morning, I get up to go praise God. Well, I am praising God loud, and man, Like sometimes if I say I can't hear you, it's because I've been listening to music so loud my whole life. So I mean, I had the music on loud, and it was a song by Andy Mineo called "You Can't Stop Me." I don't know if any of you guys know that song, but I'm like, and it's talking about you know that song. I'm like, and then like while I'm yelling it, the whole car just you dead. And I'm like, and this is a car like 60,000 miles. It's not like, something that, okay, maybe it's got some issues at this point. It shouldn't have any. So, anyways, I do believe in supernatural. I do believe, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that was the enemy cutting my energy off to the vehicle. It could have been God's protection from something, right? I don't know that. So I'm not going to just say something because I don't know. But some different things came out of the situation, and I just feel like if you are in a believer, if you do know that God has all the power in the universe, then you have to believe sometimes that there are no accidents, there are no coincidences. He is in complete control. Even when sometimes things, I actually was just grateful. Like even if it was the enemy knocking on my door, it doesn't matter because I pray for protection every day, and God keeps me protected. Nothing bad came from it. The vehicle shut down. A friend came out and he jumped it off like this, and I haven't had a problem since. Like no other issues with the vehicle. I've been driving it all week. Yeah, thank goodness. So anyways, I just share stories like that. Just experience, and just to say, like, be happy, be the light, show other people the way, but don't be naive. You have to understand that there's sometimes more to things than just the excitement we feel. And so yeah, so I'm going to read this next part. So Jesus went out to the lake with his disciples, and a large crowd followed him. They came from all over Galilee, Judea, Jerusalem, Idumea, from east of the Jordan River, and even from as far north as Tyre and Sidon. The news about his miracles had spread far and wide, and vast numbers of people came to see him. Jesus instructed his disciples to have a boat ready so the crowd would not crush him. He had healed many people that day, so all the sick people eagerly pushed forward to touch him. And whenever those possessed by evil spirits caught sight of him, the spirits would throw them to the ground in front of him, shrieking, "You are the Son of God." But Jesus sternly commanded the spirits not to reveal who he was. So I'm like getting chills as I read it. So it's just so powerful how our spirits, especially when aligned with the utmost high power, it it's gonna draw evil out. It will, like, because they cannot deny that that is God's presence, right? And so I don't know. I just feel like it's so powerful. We are so powerful, and I don't think sometimes that we even know it or we give ourselves enough credit for it. And we're all on different levels too, right? We cannot compare my journey to, like, I tell Alan all the time, like, I love listening to him. I'm learning so much from him. And he says it's so funny because that's cool that I'm learning so much from him. But he says, in comparison to some of his mentors, he's a novice, right? Like, we're all on different levels. We're not here to compare. We're here to learn together. And no matter what level we're at, it doesn't matter because there's always more to learn. I mean, I tell my kids all the time, like, it's like you can study 24/7 the rest of your life, never stop learning, and you still won't know everything there is to know. You never. So you just have to take the life for the experience that it is, and the experiences that God gives you, but use it. Don't let, and I always say this too, like, God doesn't waste anything. So I don't want to waste anything. And I read this thing yesterday. It said, if God's given you experiences that you survived, you need to use those experiences because there's other people, and there's stuff in my story that I haven't shared, but I do anticipate that God having a time and a place for certain stories, maybe with women, like where we can share things that, we've experienced, we've encountered, but not to sit around and be gloomy about it, but to say, look how far God has come. Look at the experience that he gave me. And how can we help other women, to understand, and not just women, that's just one example, but how can we help other people to break free from the chains that bind you? Because sometimes when you're holding that stuff in, it's keeping you leashed. Because I know I feel like this sometimes. I'm like, oh, they won't understand. Like, they're not gonna, it's gonna be weird if I talk about that. They might judge me, or because of the situations and scenarios that I've been through. And Savita, you're military, right? I could only imagine a woman in the military, some things that probably you're like, we're not talking about that right now. So, that I'm just saying, like, we all come from things. We all experience things. They're not always comfortable to talk about. And I don't think that we should just be like all the time like venting on these things, but I do believe there's a time and place, and God will give you the strength when it is the time to share those things, to help each other grow, to help other people feel free. And you can almost see when a person is free, like the glow about them changes. I know I changed tremendously from the year 2017. If I go back and look at those pictures, I was overweight. I was depressed. I mean, at the peak of my depression, like it was like I'm like disgusted when I look at the pictures of myself from then. But then February of 2018, I started praying. I started to know God's presence in my life, and within 6 months, really, there was this huge transformation. I shed, and I think when you shed weight, it's more than just physical. You're shedding like things that you no longer need. And I think anyways, so it's there's always a growth process, but I also believe like what I've found, and I'm still a baby at all of this, but like within the last 2 years with me like kind of walking out of the rainbows and sunshine and sort of into some shadows, that it your transformation is never finished. So, it'll fluctuate a little bit because God is in the restoration business, changing chaos into order. Amen to that. It helps you, I mean, God helps you organize that chaos, right? It helps you compartmentalize it instead of I literally feel like I was just wearing it. I drank all the time, like as a coping mechanism. Like, I mean, I've always been very high functioning. Like you put me in any job, any place, give me 2 to 4 months, I'll be running the whole place. Like that's just the way I've always been very high functioning. And I used to not say stuff like that because I didn't want to sound like I was tooting my own horn or gloating. But hey, if it's true, it's true. Like, but it's him helping you put those chaotic things, those depressive thoughts, not to wear them on the outside all the time, to help you grow, help you, because I think when he comes into you, he wants you to look a certain way. Not that we all look the same, but as an individual, he wants Savita to look a certain way. He wants Jeremy to look a certain way, wear a certain posture, so that way we attract the people that God needs to come to us, right? And I hope. Well, I mean, I don't want to say I don't care. Oh, I miss your energy, Jessica. So Jessica Lee, I've known her since middle school, maybe junior high, and she is right now studying for her insurance exam. So she's new on our team, yes, and it's her first time on one of our calls. And so I'm so happy to have her here. She has 3 beautiful daughters, and haven't seen her in a long time, so I'm excited to get to see her hopefully soon. But thank you for getting on, Jessica. 4. Oh my gosh, I forgot you had okay, I'm so sorry. 4 beautiful daughters. So anyways, glad to have you on this morning, Jessica. um, so we just have to listen. I think that's why, not that I think, but that is why meditation is so important. And there's different forms of meditation. I know as a Christian person, I have run into other Christians that actually tell me yoga is satanic, that it's bad. And have you heard that? I actually got in when I was in WFG. I got invited to a women's call that they were having a gentleman as a guest speaker on the women's call, and I knew of him. I've had encounters with him before, and it was following one of Jason's calls. So he messaged me on Jason's call, like, "Hey, right after this call, get on this Zoom code on the women's call. I'm going to be talking on there." And this is somebody who claims to be like a preacher, pastor, something like that. And I'm like, okay, sounds great. And I'm busy, so if I'm telling you, if I'm on an hour-long call and I agree to get on a call right after that, so I'm taking up 2 hours of my morning, like that's because I respect you, and so I'm like, okay, yes, sir, I'll do that. So I get on the call, and we open in prayer, and he literally goes right into yoga and satanic rituals and all this stuff, and I'm just like, yoga was the door that was open for me so I could get quiet, so I could hear God. And I'm not saying that there's not other people out there doing it the wrong way. I'm not saying that, but you could say that about anything. You could say that about churches, not all of them, but it's just about the intent, anyway. So and I just wanted to bring that up in case anybody on this call feels that way. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. That's never my goal. My goal is always to just talk about how God has entered my life, and God has entered your lives in different ways too, right? So for me, yoga was mindful meditation. I always started in prayer. First, it was just praying. And then through the movement, I was praying as I'm moving. Yoga is not cardio, right? I'm not like running like a million miles an hour. I'm slow moving. And so as I'm slow moving, I'm praying, I'm giving thanks for my body. And I got stronger from it. I got toned. I felt it made me stronger physically, but it made me stronger mentally. It made my soul stronger. And so that was just a door that was open for me in a way that I was able to get to know God's presence in my life. And I just again brought that up because I don't want anybody on this call to ever think that I would ever judge your walk with God, because it's all different and it comes in many shapes and forms and sizes. Like I will say I'm a Christian person, but I will be honest with you guys. I've read the Quran. I mean, not from front to back. I tried to read it from front to back, and I got sidetracked. Y'all know me, bird brain. But like, I want to learn why other people or how other people come to know their God, right? Because God is all encompassing, and I think we try to give him all these labels and all these different things, but he is the ruler of all of this, right? I mean, for me, there's one God, and he is over the entire universe that he created. So if anybody's on here with different views, like I would sit and listen to your views. Like there's not, for me, there's nothing. I'm so in love with the God that is in my life. Like I can listen to anything and be completely unbothered. And if your story is how he loved you and how he guided you and helped you, call it however you want to call it. Like it's just a beautiful thing. So anyways, I just wanted to say that in case there is anybody on here that maybe is not feeling what I'm talking about. I'm not here to make anybody uncomfortable for sure. Um, Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk to, well, I kind of wanted to just keep talking about giving, the promise of giving. It doesn't hurt to give back. It's never mine. That's something I always say. It was never mine anyways. God just made me a steward of certain things. And sometimes, like, I'll be honest with you, I've been working with Phil Doko. Some of you guys might know him, some of you might not. I met him 23 years ago, and I worked in his first business that he ever opened. And I've known this man for 23 years. There's been on and off periods where I didn't really have contact with him. But we started a car dealership in 2018, and it was again very, very happy times for me, very happy times for me. But over the last 2 years, I'm like, God, why did you give me this to steward? Because sometimes I'm stressed out about it, and it's not Phil, it's just the business, right? It's used cars. Like that's that's a whole thing, right? Used cars. But I do feel like the way that we operate, and we're very small. It's literally just me, Phil, and his youngest son there. And we've had employees kind of come in and out. But for me, I always ran the car dealership like it's a ministry. Now, even in a ministry, and I'm going to say this even for an insurance agency, there's going to be people that come in, customers and people that you work with, that when when you meet them, it's always that surface level. And then over time, you get to know the person a little better. But I think that no matter how the person turns to be, whether they maybe don't have good intentions for you or themselves, even because some people don't know what they do, right? It's like, I think it's very important for us to understand that it's given to us by God, maybe for a lesson, maybe it's not always, money wise. Like we can't look at everything like that. Like, what can I make off of this? Like, we have to look at the person and how can we help them, guide them, because there's people, and I'm just using the dealership as an example, but like there's people that come in to purchase a vehicle, they have nothing down, they have maybe a 400 credit score, and then they want the most expensive vehicle on the lot. That is a person that doesn't understand that. And I've been selling cars 16 years, so even before we started this dealership, I've been in this business a long time. And so like when we started the dealership, I used to, because of who trained me in the, like I used to work at this other dealership, and it was not ran by the bit. I was like 23, 24 years old when I started. So I was very naive at that time, just excited to not be working in restaurants anymore. It was just something new for me. So, but the people that I would say was teaching me and training me, they weren't godly people or people that, took their business as a ministry. It was more just the money, something to make money with. And so that's the way I was trained and taught. But God entered my life right on time before we started this dealership. So I knew, like, I want to help people, because the people that come to the dealership are oftentimes people from where I came from, that I didn't come from money. I didn't come from, like, no, I learned everything from hard knocks and experience. Like, it wasn't like I'm not a college graduate. I went to a community college for a semester, and I went to one university for a semester. Then I got pregnant, and I was like, I'm gonna keep working because I ain't making money in college. Like, So I didn't come from that, you know? And so when people come to the dealership and they have unreasonable expectations, and I pull their credit and then I realize that they don't really have that much down to put towards the vehicle, like, there I could take the posture like, "What are you talking about?" Like, make them feel dumb, make them feel no, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to help this person, and especially when they come in with kids, I educate the children too because that and I feel like, and that, again, I'm just using car business as an example, same thing in insurance. We have to use the opportunity to help people understand in a way where we're not belittling them because if they don't know, they don't know. There's plenty of stuff I don't know, and I don't want someone to make me feel stupid about it. Teach me. Like, that's it. Like, let's teach each other. Let's help each other. Let's not like I'm smarter than you. Like, okay, maybe in one area, but not in everything. Like, so anyways, to go back, you have the choice to live under freedom and alignment of God, and it doesn't hurt to give back. It's never mine. It was always God's in the first place. God doesn't need our money. We need God's breakthrough, right? God don't care. Like, that money don't mean nothing to him. Like, that's just a gift if we have it. It's a tool, but he doesn't need anything. What we need is him. We need his breakthrough. We need his, and no matter, I'm not a millionaire, but we've made uh, as of last year, we surpassed $2.5 million in revenue through the car dealership. That is not profit, thank you, but it is a testimony. And I don't want to say that to brag. I want to say that there's a lot of hard work in making that much revenue through a company, right? And so, like, that money doesn't. To me, it's a measuring stick. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's great. We helped a lot of families. We serviced a lot of people that needed vehicles. But it's not like, God doesn't need that. He doesn't really care about that. Like, how many lives did I touch though through that, right? um, so I don't feel like I'm going to be forsaken at any moment because I do believe that I'm doing things to the best of my ability with a good heart. And I don't I like stop for a second. I'm not bragging. I only for anybody on this call that could use that. Just always make sure when you're helping your clients and not just clients, when you're helping people that you're bringing into business with you, that you're doing things from a good heart because you want to help them and serve them. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, we're just servants. Like I didn't have a father growing up, but I talk to God like he is the ultimate father. Like, he is the ultimate. He will never forsake me. He will never leave me. Like, in any moment that I messed up, I know I can just fall to the floor and give it to him, and I can be forgiven, right? And I can repent and I can do it better next time, right? And so I just want to give that to any of you guys that could use that. Um okay, so that was that. And then there was one other thing I wanted to talk about, and then we can open it up if you guys want to chit chat a little bit. Um Emotional oh no, not that one, sorry. Okay, so this is a book that I read. It's called Light on Life, and I've had it for about 6 years now. If anybody wants to get the book, it's written by a yogi, but it's just talking about a lot of different things. Just about so I'm going to read this one passage. The speed, stress, and strain of modern life can send the human system out of gear. The human body is the finest machine created by God. Millions of cells are produced every second and die out just as swiftly. The cells have their own intelligence. They give strength, fitness, and mental calm. The orchestra of bones, muscles, tissues, nerves, blood vessels, limbs, and organs in the circulatory, respiratory, digestive, and glandular systems is tuned to a vertical dance that is sustained by the energy of prana. And prana is a Indian word that just means like God-given energy, and choreographed by our consciousness. So I'm going to stop there for just a second. It's choreographed by our consciousness. When we're meditating, we are fine tuning our consciousness. And whatever we believe is true. My youngest, he's getting older, but my youngest son, he is a lot like his father. God bless them. I love them both. But he can be sometimes negative, and sometimes on me, especially, I'm a morning person, and I have to wake him up from school. It's like, come on, bro, I'm such a morning person. Don't do this to me. Like, get up, let's be in a good mood. But it's like pulling Eeyore out of bed. Like, he is not having it, right? And so, and he'll always say, not always. I take that away. He sometimes will, and he's got, I don't know, the last few weeks have been really good though, so I don't want to harp on this. But prior to, he'll say negative things, and it's like not bad. He's just like tired, and he's a teenage boy, so I know his body has grown so much. So I know that he's going through this whole transition like internally. But when he said he would say negative things, I'm like, you're right. If you believe that, you're absolutely right. I don't believe that, and I'll tell him that I don't believe that for 1 second. But if that's what you choose to believe, you're right. And so I just say that because it says that it our energy is sustained and choreographed by our consciousness. So whatever we're believing, it's true. So it's so important that you can slow down and meditate, because in the day when you have those thoughts that are not self-serving, you can stop yourself. And this is living presently. You can say, no, that thought ain't right. I don't believe that. I know that's not true. And like I use the word transmute, like because like I've gone through a lot of heartbreak, like, and even in the last 7 years, just because you come to know God doesn't mean that you don't, you know, suffer sometimes, right? And so if I feel these thoughts that are not self-serving, like jealousy, to me, jealousy is the it's the worst. Like if you feel jealousy, you need to identify that. Identify what's the cause, identify why you're jealous. And I'm just using that as an example. There's other things like being a hater, right? Like there's like any negative thoughts that's not self-serving and is not serving other people. I use the word transmute. I'll just repeat it over and over in my head. Transmute that thought. Transmute, transmute, transmute. Nope. I reject it. Get out of me. I will not accept that. And so, okay, so I wanted to just harp on that for a second. So while it says, while yoga may begin with the cult of the body, it leads toward the cultivation of our consciousness. And as we cultivate our mind, we are able to avoid the stress that would otherwise lodge itself in our body, causing disease and suffering. You guys, when I was 24 years old, when I was pregnant with Fabian, I was diagnosed with cancer. Before I got pregnant, I had this lump in my neck, and it was not that big. And I did go to, and I've never been a person that goes to the doctor. Like, first of all, I've always been broke, like, so I'm like, I ain't paying for that. And I've never had health insurance my whole life. So I'm like, okay, like, I ain't going to the doctor. That's expensive. Like, and at that time in my life, I'd rather spend that money going to the bar, to be honest with you, go dancing, go doing drinking, like doing other stuff, right? So, anyways, but it was there for a while. So I was like, maybe I should go get an opinion about this. I don't know what's going on. And it wasn't that big. So I went, and this doctor, he looked at it, felt it a little bit. He's like, it's just a swollen lymph node. There's not really anything to worry about. I'm like, oh, I'm good. So I just kept living my life the way I was living. I got pregnant, and I didn't drink when I was pregnant, you guys. I always loved being a mom. I think I'd probably have 10 kids if I had met the right man. Like I love kids. So, but okay, so I got pregnant. I was like, okay, time to be pregnant, and that's cool. Well, the swollen lymph nodes started getting big, 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 and I was started wearing my hair like this, like because I remember I was working at the first car dealership I ever worked at, and the general manager walked by and he poked it, and he was like, "What's that?" Yeah, that offended me. First of all, I'm like, first of all, don't touch me, like. So he pokes it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to go get another opinion about this. But before I did that, my OB had an awesome OB. He delivered both my babies. I went for a sonogram, and he asked me because I'm laying, and so my hair's back, and he could see it's big. He's like, Kristen, have you seen anybody about that? I'm like, well, a while back, it was like a year ago, like, but they said it was a swollen lymph node, not to worry about it. And he was like, I'm gonna do a sonogram on it. So he went ahead and did it, and he said, you need to go get another opinion. I don't really like the way that looks on the thing. So I was like, okay. So fortunately, I'm from Dallas, and they have this whole program through one of the hospitals, like for people that don't make that much money. So they took care of everything. But I got a biopsy, and it was called squamous cell carcinoma, and it's a form of cancer. And so I guess because they did the biopsy, they were then worried that cancer cells could have spread outside of it. So I had to go do radiation and chemotherapy. But first I did surgery while I was pregnant. That was a whole thing because like that's scary, right? So they did surgery while I was pregnant. After I had my baby, they gave me about a week, and then I had to start chemo and radiation. And so I'm saying all that to say, because this last thing says, as we cultivate our mind, we are able to avoid the stress that would otherwise lodge itself in our body, causing disease and suffering. I was so bitter. I had a bad relationship with my mom. I was just like, I never knew my father. And then I have two brothers. We all had different fathers. I did not have a stable household, and I blamed her a lot for that. As soon as I turned no, when I was 17, she moved out of our house, leaving me and my two brothers with our stepfather, who was not a good person. And so she moved out. And so that really upset me and my brothers. And then when I turned 18, my stepdad was like, well, you got to start paying rent. I'm like, I'll pay rent, but if I'm paying rent, I ain't staying here. So I moved out, and me and my friend, we went and got ourselves a little house. And um, anyways, it's just all this bitterness and all the alcohol turns to sugar in the body, and we all know sugar is a big cancer, something that can definitely cause cancer. So I really believe that the cancer, because I was 24, squamous cell carcinoma is something that happens to older people from too much sun and stuff like that. So it's like, for me to be that young and to get something like that, I think it was nothing but all the things I was harboring internally. And so I give that to you guys, because if you're harboring anything, it's best to give it to God. It's best to release it from your body, because it will manifest itself in some way, shape, or form. And the only reason I'm as healthy as I am now is all because of God's grace and His mercy. And I'm just incredibly thankful. And so that was my message today. I mean, really, I've got 15 more minutes. If anybody wants to open up and talk at all, I'm all ears. Thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate you guys listening. I learned that my mom did the best that she could. I just love the hell out of her. Same, Savita. And I have, let me tell you, okay, let me tell you on this part. So, yeah, I exactly what you said. You have to fix that relationship. So I'm from South Dallas, lived there my whole life. Um, 5 to 6 years ago, I decided to move out here to Fort Worth because we were opening the dealership, and it was out here in Fort Worth, and I was tired of driving an hour basically, before and after work. So the weekend that I'm moving to Fort Worth, I don't remember if I called her, she called me, and like, oh yeah, I'm moving, mom. She's like, you're moving? Where are you moving to? I'm like, Fort Worth. She's like, I'm moving to Keller this weekend. We were moving on the same weekend, 20 minutes away from each other. And because I had already come to God, I was like, all right, God, I hear you loud and clear. I need to work on this relationship. And we have a great relationship now. Her birthday just passed 4 days ago. I took her for pedicure, lunch. I treated this lady because I realized, and I'm looking at her, and we look a lot alike. If y'all have ever seen my mom, have you seen her, Alan? We look like we could be twins. Yeah, we look a lot alike. So I'm looking at her, and I just have this realization: by taking care of her, I'm taking care of me, right? Like, this is like, it's like, how can I want to come up and leave the woman behind that gave me life? I could say whatever I want about her, but she had 3 kids and we're all still alive. That's actually a big accomplishment. Really, I mean, truly, I know that sounds kind of funny, but a lot of parents can't keep their kids alive. I know people that have, and I'm not gonna, that's other people's journeys, and I don't want to go on to that. But I have to give my mom the credit that she did keep us alive. We, I mean, we had roofs over our head. So, anyways, yeah, I did. I just wanted to say that because you said that, Savita, and you're so right. Like, it is definitely important that if we have our mom in our life, that we try to work on that relationship. It's important. Anything you guys care to share, or any takeaways? No, you good? What's up, Alan?
I just want to thank you for being transparent.
Always.
That it's not easy to open yourself up in front of people to share things like that, but it helps people because what happens is you end up seeing yourself and other people, and you think you're the only one that going through something. You're like, wow, I didn't know she went through that, and it helps us to realize that if she was able to make it, I can make it. The one thing you was talking about that I understand was discernment, and that's what you and I talked about before. Is not just ignoring these spirits and things like that, but having discernment to know how to deal with people and how to meet people where they are. So I appreciate you having this call this morning and coming on and sharing your
Thank
testimony.
And
Thank you.
thank you, Alan, for your influence in my life. Like, I don't say that just to say that. Like, you have been a huge influence in my life, and I'm very grateful for our friendship. Thank you for that. What's up, Savita?
Can you hear me, Kristen?
Yes, ma'am.
I love you so much.
I love you, girl.
Good morning, my beautiful people.
I
Sis,
hope you're gonna say that.
I am learning that the more we grow in ourselves, because we all have this purpose and this mission, and even though it may not look like somebody else's, your race is your race, your mission is your mission, and everybody does things different. Because when I talk to a lot of women, I realize we go through the same stuff. And what you go through, you go through. Because I know when I got divorced, I was so ashamed of the fact that I got divorced. Because my mom told me, she's like, the only job that you had was to get married and have some kids, and you don't mess that up. And I was like, is that all you think of me? No, no, it's not bad because that's how she grew up.
Sure.
I went to school, I got a degree, so I would say something, and she was like, "Oh, so now I'm dumb because you didn't go to school." That's not what I said. That's not what I'm giving off. That's not even me. So I just love that you are doing this, and I love that I was able to get on this morning. And
I'm so glad you're here.
yeah, did you see Alan's bow tie yesterday?
Say it again. Oh, you're muted. What did you say?
Did you see Alan's bow tie yesterday?
Well, yeah. I said something in the chat about it, but I was like, no, I'll keep. I don't want to. I know some of these people don't know me, so I don't want to be like a weirdo. But yes, that you were killing it in that bow tie, Alan. It was good. It was great.
Thank you.
It was an awesome call, man. Like you had great speakers on there. That was awesome. Oh, I forgot her name. The one though that was I mentioned to you, but she was like hitting me right. Like, oh, like okay, I needed to hear some of that stuff.
Edwina.
Edwina, yes. Yeah. They were all good though. They were all fantastic. But yes, thank you for everything that you guys do in the community of insurance and just being a human being in general. I appreciate all of you guys. Anybody else have anything they want to mention or say or Paula?
Hi, yes. Well, I'm actually driving to an appointment right now, so I can't have the camera on. But I just wanted to say, well, thank you for sharing your story, Kristen. And like everybody else said, for being transparent, and not everybody has the courage to, say sometimes, they're embarrassed or I know I'm still working on that. I don't really talk much. I'm a very private person. I don't really like to talk much about me, but I can just tell you that there's been a lot of wrong things done to me, but in the past, and I would just be like consumed by hatred. But because I'm not that type of person, and I thank God for that, I kind of, I may be mad for the moment, then I let go of things. Maybe it's a gift. I don't know. But what I realized is I've seen so many people like they do get, illnesses because it does, like you said, manifest in your body when you hold to that grudge and that bitterness. And so I try to tell myself I don't, want to be like that. And I do meditation also. I don't do it as often as I would like to. But like I'm all into that. And I strongly believe that you have to just let go in order for you to be able to be a better version of yourself, to let go of all the past, all the hatred, and no hold any grudges, and just leave everything to God. I just want to say, maybe one day I'll open up to say my story on things, but I'm not. I really don't really like to talk about, um, what I've gone through or anything, but I just want to leave it as like I understand, but I try to be a person that lets go, and it's worked out for me so far because I don't hold any, um, grudges, and then at the end I end up finding out, like looking back in life, oh wow, maybe this needed to happen in order for this to happen. So
Right.
I've always seen the light of the things that has happened. That's pretty much just where comes down to.
I love that. And you said in the chat, with God, no weapon shall be formed against you. And that is like, that's another, like, I don't know if you guys think I'm crazy, but I chant certain things. And that's something I chant, like, no weapon formed against me will prosper. No, and I'll say it over and over, like, no, it won't work. There's a whole song about it. I love that song. I play that song all the time. Like, like, nope, it won't work. It won't work. God don't want that. So anyways, yes, Paula, and I can't wait for you to, I mean, it's like a bloom, right? Like, and we go through seasons. Me and Alan have this conversation too. Like spring is a whole season outside, but it's also within us, right? Like we come, we go through the winter, we shed, I feel like sometimes the cold, dark season is kind of depressing, right? But we come through spring and we shed and we bloom again. And so Paula, you're going to bloom again, girlfriend. We all will. And I can say everybody that I know on this call will be here for you whenever you're ready for that. I will be here ready. We can talk about it if you wanted to have a morning on Friday or Monday where you kind of talk to us. I mean, I am not like, this is not like supposed to just be like Kristen talks to you all the time, which I will, but I mean, the floor is y'all's. Like, if you guys want the floor, if you guys, and also, like, if you guys are building teams, even if you're not building a team, even if it's just friends, family, like today's call really, it's not just like insurance. Like, we can talk about anything entrepreneurial. Like, to me, an entrepreneur encompasses all the 5 F's, right? And so we can talk about anything to do with faith, family, our finance, which is our business, right? Health, because health is wealth to me. Like, and then of course, any kind of fun that we want to have together. So Paula, thank you so much for sharing this morning. It's been really nice getting to know you. I mean, you can't just rush into friendships or any kind of relationship. Like, it takes time, right? To get to know each other, to trust each other. So I just hope you know that you have a community right here that I've known all these people on this call that you could trust. And if ever you want to talk, we're right here. Thank you so much for sharing. And Jessica, can you talk? You don't have. Oh, you're welcome. You want to say anything? Oh, I saw you just put in there. Yes, I'm so sorry. We will definitely be saying prayers for your niece and your daughters, because I know they're coping with that. And sending you all of our love, girlfriend. Well, if anybody does anybody have anything else? You're welcome. Gabriel,
Actually, I do.
Yeah, what's up, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm about to leave soon. I got an appointment to take my son to. But I just want to say, Kristen, I thank you for being transparent like that. It takes a lot of courage to talk about things like that and everything. And you said a lot of.
Probably walking away to the house. I know my phone will start connecting to the Wi-Fi and the data.
God worked on me throughout a lot of. Yeah, sorry. Me being more introverted and growing in Christ over the years, I learned to speak more and give my testimony when needed. But it was very, very, very encouraging. Thank you for that. It's definitely something that's needed. But that's all I had to say.
Well, good. And thank you for saying that, Gabriel. And man, the best is yet to come. Like, and I know all of us, we don't get to talk all the time, but I see y'all. I know what y'all are doing. I know that y'all have goals for yourselves and your families. And so it's just a pleasure to be in business with you guys and to get to watch you guys. And thank you for saying that. I appreciate it very much. And I know you've got a testimony. I don't, we've been working together a while, but I still feel like I don't know you. Like, we need to get to know each other like more, right? And so hopefully by me putting all my cards on the table, and I tell everybody, I'm an open book, I'm an open door. Like, you can ask me anything. Like, at this point, like, the only one that can judge me is God. So I mean, if we can talk about anything, But thank you, Gabriel. I appreciate that. Anybody else? I think Jeremy had to go to work. All right, you guys. Well, that's a wrap then. I love you all very much. God bless everybody on this call. Bless their homes. Bless their families. Lord, bless me. Bless my mouth and my tongue. May I only speak things that come from you and need to be said and nothing more. And let us all have a fantastic week. It's Monday. Let us serve as many people as possible. I pray every morning, God, bring me your people and I will do my best. And Lord, you brought all these people on these screens, and I pray the same for them. Bring your people to these people, because they will do their best. And this is how we're going to grow. And this is how we are going to change the world, one conversation at a time, one impactful relationship at a time. Amen. Love you guys. Mwah!
Thank you, Kristen.
All right.
You're welcome.
Love
Thank you. Love you. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
on. Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks, Paula. Bye. Thanks for getting to know Kristen. I see you over there, quiet. Y'all have a good week. Call me if you need any help with work.
You too.
Or anything, of course, but obviously I want them to know I'm here to work. All right. Bye, you guys.